From We Run With You, I'm Kathy Witten.
And I'm Rob Alvarez. Welcome to Season 3 of Doing Good. In this episode, we talk with Caroline McCaffrey.
A year ago, Caroline faced a disease she never expected would happen to someone so young and active. In just over a year, she has transformed that challenge into purpose, becoming an advocate and source of hope for the stroke and brain aneurysm community. What could have been defined by tragedy has instead become a story of resilience, connection, and hope. Hi, Caroline. Thank you for joining us today on Taco Tuesdays. I'm a little jealous. I heard you got taco, and I had pizza. I forgot. But thanks for joining us, taking a little time off from your school, what's left of school, right? At Bucknell, and joining
finals
us tonight. Are you done?
It's finals week right now, but I don't have a final till next week, so.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, thank you for taking time away from studies to talk with us today.
My pleasure.
So, I don't know, I'd like to just jump right into it. Can you tell us, what do you remember from the days leading up to your brain aneurysm rupture?
I remember pretty much everything leading up. It was just like normal, like nothing out of the blue was really happening. I feel like I was in the midst of just like summer training for cross country. And the day before, one of my friends who is the grade below me was having like a graduation party. So I just went with like my family. And this is like the only thing where they don't really know if it was like related or not. But after like I went home and I felt like I'd kind of gotten like not like punched in the face, but like some like a weird like kind of I guess like bruise like feeling like or like soreness like in between my eyes. Which like it wasn't like alarming, like it wasn't a bad headache or anything. But I was just like, oh, that kind of feels like a little bit weird. And I told my mom about it, but I wasn't alarmed. Like, I was just like, oh, I don't know. Maybe like rolled over in my sleep and I don't know. Didn't really think much of it. And then the day it happened was completely normal. I wasn't feeling like off in any type of way, really. I just decided to go running like later in the day because I think it was just like, I don't know, it was Father's Day. So we were just doing some like things and we went to dinner and I like a good little like summer evening run, so I waited till the evening to go with my mom, and that's when everything happened. And then we ended up asking about like the day before, like the little headache I was feeling, and they said it could have been like a sentinel bleed, like a tiny little like bleed, but I don't even know if it was, because it really did not hurt like that bad at all. So everything was normal leading up.
Now, you did mention that you have a history of migraines, correct?
Yeah, I've had migraines probably since like middle school, or like early in high school, and my mom always had migraines, so thought that was kind of just, I guess probably was the genetic component, because that came into play later. But I had migraines in like middle school, and then I started to get migraines with like visual aura like probably sophomore year of high school. So
yeah, because I don't know if that's still debatable whether or not that is a symptom. But yeah, it's crazy how it was like leading up to it. You weren't feeling anything, and then it just like happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like no huge headache, no weird vision problems, and
nope. Just right when it happened, like I got all the symptoms at once, but nothing really leading up.
Do you remember, or were you aware at all what was happening, or were you like out? Like, what do you remember from?
I remember pretty much everything. I never like passed out or anything. I just remember getting like all of a sudden on my run, like I went to go crack my neck. Just because I don't know, I felt like I don't know, a little kink in my neck, so I went to go crack it. And then like right when I did that, I got like the worst headache. I didn't know if I like cracked my neck weird or what was really going on, or if it was just like a migraine that was like manifesting weird, maybe because I was on a run. You're not trying to think that you're having like a brain aneurysm or ruptured brain aneurysm. So I got like a super like the thunderclap headache, and then, which wasn't even the most alarming, I feel like for me, like the neck tightness was really scary, because that's never really something I've ever experienced. Like I couldn't really turn my head. I couldn't turn my head, and that was really weird to me, and I think that's what kind of freaked me out. And then I was throwing up, which was weird, and I think all of that combined, my parents knew something was wrong, and I started to freak out because my mom is a very like calm person, but I feel like I could kind of see that she was like, all right, like something is not right. So then I started freaking out, but I was like, okay, I just need to calm down. But we went home for a little bit, and I just went into like my room with my parents and kind of tried to like see if I could just like wait it out. After I threw up, I was like, okay, sometimes throwing up will help my migraine, so I thought maybe like if I threw up and just laid in the dark for a little bit, it would go away. But I think we all kind of knew. I think I laid in there for like not even 10 minutes, and we were like, okay, like we should probably go to the hospital. So my mom took me. My dad joined once we got to Hopkins. I think we just kind of wanted to see like what was wrong first. So my mom took me to our local hospital. I remember that. Just had like remember like not vividly, kind of like clouded, because they started to give me just like medication, and like I was in so much pain. I think I just like don't really remember it, but I was conscious there. I remember them telling me there was like blood on my brain, but I don't remember being in like the CT scan. Like it's very like in and out. Yeah.
Huh.
And I don't remember being in an ambulance to get to Johns Hopkins, but I remember being at Hopkins when they told me they couldn't like treat me there, and then Hopkins is where they like intubated me. So then I don't remember anything till I woke up in the ICU.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So, I guess what by the time you woke up, was that like after the surgery?
Yeah.
Like after,
Yeah.
or
The first time I woke up from like being intubated was, it happened on a Sunday. Like on a Sunday was when it ruptured, and I woke up on a Tuesday. So I think Monday they did like, it's like if you look in my if I look in my chart, Monday is where everything like is like. But so that's when they waited. So they put the drain in. I think really early in the morning, maybe on Monday, or really late at night on Sunday. I don't remember really which one it was, but that was Hopkins. And then they sent me to Maryland. I think Maryland did like the angiogram, and they did the coiling for the one that ruptured. And they did the angiogram, which is where they saw the other one. So they kind of made the treatment plan on Monday. And then once I woke up, like they had like a plan. But yeah, I woke
Wait,
up.
so are you saying you had multiple? You had multiple? Wow.
I had the ruptured one and the unruptured one. So when I woke up on the Tuesday, I don't really remember much because I feel like I had a lot of like pain medication. It was very clouded, and I was very confused, obviously. But I remember them really like having a plan like right away. So
then they told you you had to do another procedure.
Yep.
Wow. So I know things are probably pretty foggy at this point, but can you remember what you were thinking or feeling at that time?
I remember first when I woke up, I thought I was having like a nightmare. Like I thought it was a dream. So like I tried to go back, like I tried to just close my eyes again, and then
I was like, let me see if I can get a better dream.
yeah, maybe let's try and reshuffle or wake up or something. But I think it took a few tries, and I was like, okay, like this is like real. And then I remembered that I had a really bad headache on my run. And obviously did not know like what was happening, and like that was the most like surreal feeling. I feel like waking up and being like, oh my god, like. And I remember one time waking up like because they would wake me up with the like being intubated still to do like the neuro checks, and I feel like I remember waking up and feeling like the tube down my like throat and being just like where am I and what's happening. But like when I first woke up, I was just like so confused. But I remembered that I had that like really bad headache, and I was like, wow, guess it was a really bad headache. Like guess things were really serious. So yeah.
Okay, only because I was out. I just want to know from your like how you were feeling, because as you know, Caroline, I was out. I was out like a light. I don't remember anything. There's a whole week of my life that has that I have no recollection of. So when you said you woke up and you realized you were intubated, I mean, how did that make you feel? Were you freaking out? Because I would, because I don't think you can talk, right? Can you?
No.
Like, how did you stay calm?
Yeah. How did you stay calm, and how did you communicate with them?
I did not stay calm. Like they ended up, they ended up like restraining me because I tried to pull it out, which like a lot of people do. Like they freak out, and you know, like you're not in you're in a very altered state of consciousness. So I tried to pull it out, which my neighbors would always be trying to do that. Like they would always be running to someone's room because they were trying to pull it out, which I guess is a good sign because it means you're like, I don't know,
awake,
yeah,
alert.
So I tried to pull the intubation tube out, but I don't really remember. Like you can't talk, so I feel like they would wake me up for like maybe a minute to do like just like the little checks and then just put me back to sleep. So I don't really remember like those times. I don't know what I was doing, but apparently it was not calm. So, but they were like, we had to just, I know that when I had like the first surgery, I was trying to like bite through it. So they told me they gave me like enough sedation to sedate like an elephant. Cause also I guess I was like metabolizing it fast.
Oh my God.
Yeah. The one doctor did his residency at Walter Reed and he was like, I've only seen this type of like, I was like, oh, I guess I was not, I wasn't the greatest patient in the beginning, but yeah.
I don't think you're alone. I was told the same.
Yeah.
Even though I don't remember anything, I was told I was strapped, both arms, legs, everything. So were you like a zombie?
Yeah,
You know,
I was like the one nurse came into the room one time and she was like, "Oh, like you were strapped down." I was like, "Yeah," but it's crazy because like I ended up shadowing my neurosurgeon and it's crazy to see because it's like obviously not a reflection of how people would wake up and be like from like just procedures and be freaking out and trying to like pull things and get up, and then you'd meet them an hour later and they were like the nicest people. Like it's so like everyone's like that.
So when would you say you kind of came to grips or realized what was happening or what had happened to you?
I feel like pretty soon after I woke up I started to like ask questions because I was like I was aware of where I was, but I like had the worst headache and whatever. I think I started to ask questions pretty fast. Like, I was asking like if like I would be able to like walk again, and my mom was like, well, like can you feel your legs? And I was like, yeah. Wow. And then I was just like confused, so naturally I'm like, why, like what ended up happening? Like I said, like I knew I had that headache, but I kind of didn't, and I knew there had been like blood on my brain. I don't know if I remembered that when I woke up, but I kind of started to ask questions, and I remember like my neurosurgeon came in maybe that day or like the next day and kind of like walked us through everything and was like, okay, like here's our plan. Like I feel like my parents might have told me before they definitely did that I had like another unruptured one and kind of what the plan was, so I was kind of prepared, but he obviously like came in with all the like information, and I feel like I knew what was happening pretty like soon.
Did you ask at any point, or did your neurosurgeon tell you kind of what this would mean for your running career?
Yeah, I feel like obviously since it also happened when I was running, like I didn't know if that was like gonna be something that I couldn't go back to because it was like what caused it. But they like emphasized pretty early that like this was something that was in my brain for a while and like it was eventually gonna burst, and it just happened to be on a run. And like they always kind of encouraged me that I was doing really well, because obviously you don't feel like you're doing well. Like I was like sleeping all the time, and like you're at your like weakest point. So I was like, I felt like I wasn't doing well, but they were like, and now that I've kind of like gone back and like gone to the ICU, I feel like I've like seen how bad it can get. But I feel like they were like really good at being like, okay, you're like really ahead for where you're at. So I feel like they kind of told me from the beginning that that was going to be like something I could go back to.
Okay, I don't want to dwell on this, but we are runners, and we have, our charity is We Run With You. But I do want to ask you, whether it was in the hospital or when you were at home, was there any point where you were thinking to yourself, I don't think I can go back, will I be able to get back to running again? Or was there this fear that you had in the back of your mind? Like, I think my running career is over.
Definitely in the beginning. Like when I was in the hospital, I definitely thought like I would have a lot of conversations with my parents and be like, I don't know, like if I'll go back to running, especially like in college. And I kind of already had like assumed I wasn't going to. And then also like when I was allowed to run again, I feel like I was like it was more my mom that was really like nervous, because I feel like she kind of was there for like my worst. Like I don't have like my parents didn't really take those, like they said they couldn't bring it like upon themselves to like take those pictures when I was like fully intubated, so I don't think I saw like how bad it got. I felt how bad it got, but like I feel like my mom was really the one who was like there with me when it happened, and like saw me at my worst. So I feel like she was more anxious about me like going back to running, and like I was anxious, but I felt like they had told me so many times that like you can do this. But then also like more of like also when I did get back into running, being like, wow, like obviously your body's gone through like a major trauma and you haven't been running for like a while, and I was like, so like I could run for like 30 seconds and then I was like dizzy and like had to stop. So I was like, how am I gonna get like if I can't run for 30 seconds, like how is this even gonna like progress? So I feel like that's what I more struggled with, was like I was like so excited to get back to it, and then I did, and I was like, okay, this is like hard. So yeah,
everything you're saying sounds so familiar. And the reason why I wanted you to mention that, and I wanted to ask, is because I'm sure that there are going to be other individuals that, you know, may not be at the level of running that you are at, you know, a D1 athlete, but, you know, those that are very, you know, avid runners, marathoners, just athletes in general who may be going through this or have gone through this. And I'm sure they're like, yeah, you know, because as you know, I've met several people who, unfortunately, they don't like to go back to running or working out because it happened to them when they were working out. But I think when you hear someone have this same experience and, you know, getting back into running like you are and I have, you know, again, this is just a moment for them to feel like, wow, you know, there is an opportunity for me to get back at it. I think of course, you got to recover first. There's a recovery period, and, you know, it's a process. But, you know, I mean, we're not at the end of the interview yet, but I just want to say right now that there is hope. And you can get back to it. It's just going to take some time. And for everyone, the timeline is going to be different.
Yeah.
So, Caroline, how long were you in the hospital for?
I was in the hospital for 20 days. So from June.
That's pretty long.
I guess June 16th is technically when I got to Maryland, because 15th was kind of like at a bunch of different places. So June 16th to July 5th. And then I went back August 11th for like one more procedure and stayed like I think a night just for that. So 21 days like over the course of it, but 20 like total, which they let me out one day early because I remember they said like we usually keep people for at least 3 weeks because of like the vasospasms, but they let me out a day early, which was nice. Yeah,
that's true. I guess they do have to monitor you for a bit.
Now, did you have to go through any rehab?
I went, like, I did some stuff in the hospital, but I think I was super lucky where, like, once I was able to kind of get up out of bed, like, especially once they took the drain out, because, you know, it's kind of, like, hard to, like, move around and all that, like, leveling, So I didn't really, like, do much when the drain was still in. I feel like I did go on walks maybe with the drain, though. The nurses were very good at, like, I wanted to get up and, like, I don't think I went outside for, like, 10 days. Like, I didn't see, like, I don't know. Like, you feel so, like, but I did a little bit of stuff in the hospital. Like, they would bring in the physical therapist and, like, the OTs a lot. The OT would more just, like, I don't know, they were more like a therapist. Like, they would play games with me and stuff and just kind of try and talk you through what was, like, happening. And then the PTs would, like, make sure I could go up and down the stairs and take me on walks around the hospital. And then they also brought me, like, one of those little, like, bikes, like, just the, like, foot, like, the ones that you can just put on the floor.
It's just the pedals.
Yeah.
They would let me go for, I think it was literally, like, 3 minutes, and then, like, that was it. So I'd go on my walk and...
Wait, was that it because you were winded, or they were, like...
No, they, like, cut me off. Like, yeah. And then once I got home, I went to a little bit of neuro PT at Hopkins, just because my, like, neck was still... I had, like, a lot... Like, I felt like where they did my, like, open... Like, your, like, skull's kind of, like, growing back, so it was creaking a lot, and, like, there's air bubbles, and, like, my head and my neck were just making, like, weird noises, and it was, like, stressing me out, and my neck was hurting, so I did stuff for that. And then also, like, everyone was like, it's never a bad idea, I guess, to go to, like, neuro PT just to make sure your balance is in check. And they did a lot of like stress tests there to be like, to like make sure that when I was walking, my blood pressure wasn't going too high, or like when I was biking, it wasn't going too high. So it was more like, I guess, like monitoring, but I didn't go for like super long, which I was also super lucky that I like didn't really have deficit from the beginning.
I'm curious, did the doctor or the surgeon or the medical team in general, did they ever give your parents like a forewarning, like we just want to warn you, this is, this could cause her to, she may not be the same. She may not be able to do X, Y, Z. Because I know Rob was told, like, I know the possibility of Kathy, like, remembering you or even walking or doing daily tasks is very low. So I was wondering if that was was there that conversation your parents had that you recall, or?
Yeah, I think I asked my mom this literally the other day. Like, I was like, was there a point where they told you that, like, everything was either going to be, like, okay, or, like, I don't know. And she said, I feel like they told her pretty early because they could see that, like, by the amount of blood that was on my brain, like, I think on the scale of, like, 5, I think my bleed was, like, a 2. So still, like, some blood on my brain that they had to put the drain in, but I think they knew that it wasn't a bad bleed, but obviously they don't know how you're going to be affected till you really, like, wake up. So I woke up and I kind of started, like, cracking jokes, like, pretty quick, so that, like, my parents were like, okay, that's when we really, like, let out, like, a deep breath. And, like, my neurosurgeon Ethan was like, okay, like, that's a good sign, because, like, if she's making jokes, like, she'll be okay. Like, so I feel like they knew pretty quick that things were, like, good cognitively. And then, but they did, like, give me the warning, they gave me the warning that, like, going back to specifically, like, running, like, they were like, you need to give yourself time, because it's gonna be, like, especially on the blood thinners and, like, everything, like, they were like, it's gonna take time and you're gonna be really out of shape. Like, I feel like they more gave me the warning, but I feel like they told my parents pretty quick, luckily, that I was gonna be, like, okay. But like I said, like, they didn't really know that until I woke up and started, like, talking.
Yeah.
So what was recovery like for you, and what did you struggle the most, you think?
So once I left, I was going on, like, really short walks, like, to the end of my, like, street. And, like, I think, like, when I first came home, I had, like, 9 of my friends over, like, one of the first days I was home, and then the next day I was, like, so down bad, like, I was, like, so sick. And, like, my parents called, like, the neurosurgeons, and they were like, is this, like, normal? And they were like, well, like, what'd she do yesterday? And my parents were like,
I had a big party.
well, yeah. Her friends wanted to come see her. So they were like, okay, like, you need, like, that's great, but, like, you need to be taking this, like, you need to understand that, like, this is a major, like, trauma, and she needs, like, she needs to, like, rest. But I think in the beginning it was every other, like, I would have a good day and a bad day, good day, bad day. And, like, I almost knew that was, like, going to be the pattern. So I would, like, plan, like, I'd be like, okay, what's this date? Like, will I be good, bad? I don't know. So after that, kind of, then it started to be, like, every 2 days. And I feel like it kind of, like, lengthened out how, like, but I feel like I was so used to doing, like, so many things, like, where I was, like, so frustrated. I was, like, even literally, like, sitting up and, like, doing, like, a puzzle or Legos would make me, like, sick the next day. And I was like, gee, it's like your basic, like, to me, what felt like doing nothing is, like, so taxing on, like, your body and your brain, which was, like, a big adjustment for me. Like I said, like, it started to kind of, like, spread out, and each day you get, like, a tiny bit better. And then so I started to go on, like, tiny walks, and then those walks got, like, longer, but I still wasn't allowed to run. So the walks kind of got, like, the walks were long, because, like, I was like, I need to, like, I don't know, like, I need to be doing something. So my parents would go on walks with me a lot. I think eventually got up to, like, I feel like I got up to, like, 6-ish miles. And my brother's training for an Ironman. So we'd all kind of go out together, and, like, my brother would run, my mom would bike, and then, like, me and my dad would walk. It's kind of like a whole, like, family thing. And then eventually I started getting back into running. But like I said, like, that was its own, like, thing in and of itself. Like, I feel like it wasn't even until, like, recently that I've started to, like, consistently run, like, more, like, now I can kind of get back into running, like, 6 miles, like, not even a distance I, like, used to be able to run, but, like, a run that feels like a real run. Like, it took me forever to get back to. So.
But let's not glaze over it's great that you're back to feeling that, you know, how you feel when you do like a run. You're like, yeah, that was a good run.
Yeah.
You know, I get what you're saying there, but I want to ask you, maybe take it back like half a year or so. How was it? What was going through your head, and how were you feeling when you got in a run? Like a run where you just did not stop. You're like, I can continue, but I'm not, because I'm going to be very, conscientious about this. Yeah. How did that, and how long was it? I always want to know.
I feel like my first one where I was like, okay, like I was like happy was like a mile. Like I feel like that's like a big, I don't know, it was a big milestone for then. And my mom was like, all right, you need to stop once you hit like a mile. Because like you said, like I felt like I could go farther, but it's like I probably shouldn't. Like, but I feel like once I hit a mile, like my mom also always wanted me like within her like eyesight. But so I made it like a mile, and I feel like that was like when I was like you're just happy to be like, even if it's just a mile. A week, like a month ago, like I literally was like able to walk a mile. Like I feel like it's, even though it's just a mile in comparison to what I used to be able to do, like it felt like such a big milestone. But I feel like a mile was when I was first like, and then it went up to 2, and it stayed at like 2 for a while. But I feel like each time I would hit like another mile, like it would be like I would have to let everyone know. So
yeah, and you should. Yeah. And I always tell people you have to celebrate those little wins, no matter how little they are, because they all add up. Because I'm sure you will agree that during the first couple months, or especially the first month, it was like hell. It was hell for me. I was resigned to even consider, or even the thought of running. But I have to say, though, that it was crazy how when I went for my first mile run, I had this euphoria. Like, so it was like, May? It was May. It was 2 months exactly after I was discharged from the hospital, and I was able to get in that 1 mile. And for some reason, I don't know, maybe me being cocky or just estimating my ability, but I'm like, yeah, maybe I can do that fall marathon. I don't know. Did you ever feel like, this running thing may come back to me much sooner than I had anticipated? But then, do you feel like you had to like step away and go, yeah, I don't want to jinx it, or I don't want to get my hopes up and be in that.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like I like went through that for a while. Every time I would hit a new thing, I'd be like, okay, like maybe I do want to go back to like because my big thing was like, I knew eventually that I would be able to like, I didn't know how long it was going to take, but I was like, okay, like now I luckily know that I'm going to like get back into running, but I just don't like the like caliber. Like I don't know if I'm going back collegiately or just if I want to like run on my own. And like I said, like I don't really, in the best way possible, like I don't really care about the times that I'm gonna run once I'm back. But I just didn't know if I even wanted that like intense like training every day. Like I didn't know what I wanted, but each time I would run like a new milestone, I'd be like, okay, like I can go back to it. And then I'd have a phase where I was like, okay, like my backup option was always like, I'll just go back to school and play like club soccer, like, or something like that. Like I always was going back in between the two, which I was lucky to have. Like I knew that I could do something. But I feel like it was a constant battle of like fighting myself. It was like, was I gonna go back to it or was I not?
So how do you think you processed this big wrench that got thrown into your college and sports plans that you had for for the next number of years that you knew here's my path and here are my plans and here are my goals? How did you process that big change?
Yeah, I remember like they told me pretty early, like when I was in the hospital, that I was gonna like have to take the semester off, which was like a lot to process. But I feel like once I was kind of out of the rut of like the first few days, and like I feel like once I went for like my first walk around like the neuro ICU and seeing like truly like how like it's so humbling to see like how bad things can get. Like you're in like the neuro ICU, like people, my neighbors were not like doing, like the nurses were every day were like, you're like doing like amazing. And I feel like I especially now have seen like how bad like this narrative like can play out for like some people, and it's really all like luck of the draw. Like even the healthiest people can kind of get like can die from it. And I feel like kind of like reframing my mindset to like I'm not lucky in the sense that like this happened to me, but like I am very lucky for like the average like ruptured aneurysm like I guess victim. So kind of just realizing that I was in like a very lucky position for what had happened to me was important. And then I knew that also like when I was in the hospital, I knew that like once I got out, like I wanted to like and even in the hospital, like I needed to find like a community of people who had been through this, and I wanted to like do something for it, because I was so frustrated when I learned like that this was something that had like been in my like head for a while, and like if it was just found before it ruptured, like it could have prevented all this, or like things like that. Like I feel like I knew that I wanted to like be a part of something like bigger to kind of like fight back against what had happened to me.
Did you I guess, was there a point where you kind of, because you kind of said you toyed with the idea of, you know, running or not running. Like, was there a point where you said you kind of came to accept that this could change the trajectory of, you know, where you're heading for in the next couple of years, or or were you always kind of flip-flopping and determined still at times?
I think I did accept like early. Like I was kind of talking to my dad, and like I was like, I don't really know like if I want to go back to it, and he always kind of pushed me to like believe that I could. Like he was like, it's up to you, like what you want to end up doing. And my parents were like super supportive of like whatever decision I made, but he was like, you should try. Like he was like, I don't know, like you're never gonna know, I guess, like what could happen if you don't even try to do it. And I kind of was like, well, I was like, I don't even know if I want to, like all this stuff, but I feel like he kind of always pushed me, especially to like at least try to get back into it. But I feel like when I like the first couple of days, I was kind of like, well, like I'm just not gonna do that again, like and then there was like when I got home, kind of the pulling back and forth like of whether I wanted to get back into it. But then I feel like now it's kind of come full circle that like I at least want to like run one more, like I don't know, I want to run one more race in like the Bucknell uniform, and then like I don't, like I said, like I don't really care the times I run, just to kind of like I feel like for me personally to like come out on the other side of it, or like to prove that this wasn't something that kind of like held that power over me. And then after college, of course, I want to like do like a marathon. So
yeah, because I think you, after something like this, you know, I kind of definitely understand that your goals can change, or what's important to you can, you know, definitely change. Your perspective, your whole perspective can definitely change. And I, you know, I may be, I know I'm kind of an eternal optimist, but you know, I'm with your dad's camp. You know, I think if it's something you want, that I think you're more than capable to get back into kind of where you were. And it will take a lot of work, obviously. But it's just a matter of, you know, do you even want to do it? But so, how has your you know, school goals, or you know, kind of other goals in your life changed having gone through this?
I was always like pre-health. I always kind of knew that I wanted to either be like a doctor, like a PA. I didn't really know like what I wanted to be, and that was kind of like a constant like crisis. I was like, I don't know really what I want to be. Like there's so many options. And so I was really conflicted about that. And then after I went to the hospital, like my neighbor, she used to work for University of Maryland, so she kind of connected us with like the admin there, which was super great. So we became really close with like the just like the admin of like all nurses at the hospital. I don't know, she was really high up, but she was always trying to convince me. She was like, you should go into nursing. She always wanted me to go to like that path. And I think for me, I love my neurosurgeon, and he was great, but I know I'm not cut out for that. Like he's the best, but I could never, like, I'm not cut out for that type of work. And then so, like, I also, the, like, nurses really, like, made a huge impact on my, like, time in the hospital. Like, I felt like they really made me feel like less of like a patient, more like a person. Like, they would actually have like conversations, and they were the ones who spend the whole day with you. So I feel like I developed like a lot of like deep connections with the nurses. Like, even some of them, like when I went down to the step down unit, like this one nurse, like he every day, like at the end of his shift, like he only worked in the ICU, so he didn't have me in the step down unit, but he would like find my room. Like, he would come down, he would like ask the charge nurse where I was, and like he would come into my room, he would like check on how I was doing before he like went home for the day. And I feel like it just really showed me that, like, I don't know, like, it wasn't just like they're clocking out and they're gone. Like, they really did care about like their patients. And like, I feel like that's something I like want to do. Like, I want to have more of like a person to person like connection. So I ended up changing. I want to go like eventually like CRNA, so like nurse anesthetist, but first obviously work as just a nurse. Like, got to build your way up. But to be a CRNA, you have to work 2 or 3 years in the ICU, which like for me, I don't like see that as like got to do this like to like reach the end goal. Like, I feel like that's something that I like want to go into anyways, and kind of make like the same difference. Like, I would also love to work, like I'm gonna apply to other places, but I would love to work like back at University of Maryland. I feel like it would be very like full circle to work there.
Well, they definitely make a big difference, not only for the patients but the families that, you know, kind of end up spending, you know, for those weeks that you're there, you know, every day, hours and hours, and you get to know them. And also nurses in the ICU, that's a high stress and high level of you know, of nursing. Definitely as far as definitely a good challenge for you too.
Yeah.
And I think for you to have such a, you know, an impact as far as how your relationship with them, I mean, that's really rare. One, to have that genuine, you know, ability to show compassion. I mean, you're, as a nurse, yes, you provide care, you dispense, you know, whatever medical needs or whatever. But I mean, with my situation, you know, a lot of them became almost like your family, you know, because they really took care of you. I mean, they, you know, they spoke to you like not a patient, but someone like someone who is having for me, I always felt like they tried to make it seem like I was not a burden, because I always felt like I was such a burden when I was in ICU. So I think I can relate when, you know, you said that, you know, they are just profoundly so, you know, so genuine in terms of just, you know, the level of care that they provided you. So and I can see that in you, because, you know, you want to be an advocate. And I think, I mean, for the short amount of time that we've known each other, you know, one, I feel like you have your head set. You know, you're very wise for your age, Caroline.
Thank you.
But I think at the same time, you know, it's good that, I mean, I'm not saying it's good that you had this horrible experience, but now it's almost like you're on both sides, you know?
Yeah.
So it gives you that perspective, like, you know, I've been on that side now, and I know that if I do go down this path of being a nurse or, you know, staying in the medical field, I know what I need to do, you know, for the patient, you know. So that's rare to have, and I think you can get. And I love and I just want to go back to when your father, with your dad, how he's like, you know, let's try it. Yeah. You're so young, Caroline. And I think at the same time, you may not have to go back full send, you know, but I think a lot of it too could be a good closure. You know, you want to leave on a high note on if you were to go, you want to go on your terms. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So that's how I see it. Yeah.
So fast forward a little bit. What made you want to get involved with We Run With You? Kind of from the start.
I like needed to find people. Like I was reaching. I was like, who has this happened to? Like, not that was hoping it happened to people I knew, but I was just like, I feel like I am the only like I had heard of this happening to people, but I was like, I really don't have anyone that I can like talk to about it. There was like one like kind of distant family member that had one, and he sent a video to me, which was great. Like that was the first person, and that was super helpful, and he was like made a full recovery, so like, that gave me a lot of hope. And like kind of started to find, but I was like, I feel like I haven't found like my people. Like I feel like, of course, like I've talked about this before, like I was in such a lucky position that I was able to eventually get back into running. But I feel like a lot of people had just accepted that it happened to them and kind of like didn't really see goals for themselves in the future and kind of like became a victim of like their situation, which I said is super understandable, like something so traumatic has happened to you. But I needed to find people who had like success stories, and the statistics like aren't great. When I was able to find like We Run With You, it was super helpful for me, and like even people who were still like rehabbing and not kind of like still getting back into it, but like really just had their like mindset on like that they wanted to get better every day, and like really driven people was something that I definitely needed. And I remember like first finding the website, I don't remember, I think my brother reached out when I was in the hospital, but it was once I went back home. I remember like one day I was like I slept with my mom for a while because I was so scared to like sleep alone, so I kicked my dad out to the guest room, and I like I slept in the room with my mom because I was just like scared. And it was like one night before I was like going to bed, and I think she like pulled up like the perspectives page, and we were just reading those for like a while, and it was like some of the stories were just like so, it's like reading your own, like they're just so similar. And even if people have had like, you know, everyone's is slightly different, but just to kind of like realize that even like just the way people thought and like the way they were thinking and like approaching things was so similar to like what I was going through was really helpful. And then obviously it really resonated with me, like the running part. So I think my brother had reached out, and then once I was like back home and like well enough to like, I don't know, like kind of get things going, I had like a phone call, and I feel like I just clicked really fast. And then once like you came to me with the idea about the Philly like weekend, I definitely wanted to be there, and I feel like things just got rolling after that.
Yeah, because that wasn't, I mean, the Philly Marathon weekend wasn't that far away from when
7, 8,
when
9,
you
10,
were in
11.
the
It's like
5 months.
5 months.
5 months, yeah, that's crazy.
That's phenomenal. That's a phenomenal comeback, if I do say so myself. Yeah, it was such a treat to see you run with your friends. You just looked so happy. I mean, you were definitely in your element. So yeah, it was just great to see. I mean, I think that was the first weekend that we met each other.
Yeah,
I only saw you on, on Instagram. I knew what you looked like, but we never, that was the first time we got to meet each other. And it was a really, I don't know how to describe it, but, I was just so happy for you because, I know that feeling. I know that feeling of just wanting to, lace up and, I know you weren't going for time, but it's just, doing something that's, as you know, that's what we're all about, right? Going back to doing what you love and, seeing that smile on your face, and your support crew was just incredible. So yeah, it was like cheering for someone that I've known for so many years, so it was awesome.
Yeah, and
it was
something
super rewarding weekend.
And something you said earlier kind of made me reflect on, when we all get together, especially on those days where it's the post-marathon celebration. As I listen to conversations, it's like, and I know, part of the event, right? We have people share their stories. You went up and shared your story. But when I eavesdrop on conversation, it's all about like their training, how their last training was, how the marathon was, or how this mile was. So it's like, if someone just walking by, you wouldn't realize that, like everyone here, so many here have gone through what what you've been through, but all they want to talk about is their training runs and how training is going. So it's kind of funny. So what would you say are some of your goals now in the next, I don't know, in the near term?
I'm definitely getting just back into running. Like I said, like I want to run again, like in college, so definitely next year, like racing. I signed up for the Philly half, so that's in there.
Yeah, that's coming up November.
There's that, and then also like I feel like I've fulfilled this goal a lot, but just like continuing to fulfill it is like doing the work that I've been able to do through like We Run With You and like just like advocacy. Like I don't know, like anything I can do for that. I don't really have like a specific goal, but I feel like just continuing to kind of do work with that.
Yeah. Well, let's I know Caroline's being really humble, but I do want to share that for someone who had a ruptured aneurysm, a D1 division runner, we're not even a year out. And you've done so much. You have done so much, and we are the fortunate ones to be able to have you join, our team, our community here. One, not only did Caroline go back to doing what she loved, like 5 months shy of this, huge trauma, but you are already such a huge advocate for this community. So not just that, but you've graciously shared your story with so many different foundations. You were on the news, and I want to say that I think the most grateful thing that I want to tell you is that I'm just so happy that, one, you were able to share your story without any limitations. You're very open to sharing, and I know why you want to share it. And it's because, at the end of the day, you want to be able to make sure that people hear about what could happen to a very, I guess you could say, healthy young adult. This doesn't happen to, just someone over, the age of like 50 or 60. But also, you were able to, I just want to say you are so far one of our highest fundraiser. So, I was astounded by the amount of support that you were able to gather, and and what it says about you is that they believe in what you're doing, what you're advocating, and at the same time I think that is a real true reflection of, I think, what people in your circle want for you is to only thrive. But back to the fundraising part, you raised so much that we were just like, wow, we want to do something in your honor. And just like a week or so ago, Caroline was able to grant or what is it? Oh my gosh, I'm going to use this. My brain. You were able to give 4 educational scholarships to 4 phenomenal DPT students at UDPT. And that's huge. We're not even a year out, and you've done so much. And also this Sunday, you help put together a 5K to raise awareness for brain aneurysm research and just so many more things that I can say down the line. But again, don't let this sweet little voice, she's a force. You really are. You're a force. You're very, and I want people to hear all the good that you've done, because that is what you said you want to do. You want to advocate, and that is exactly what you're doing. Every time you share your story, you're advocating for someone out there who may be going through what you went through, or possibly just looking to see, where they can land down the road. And, this could be it. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah. And you're
Thank
just
you
getting,
so much.
you're just getting started too.
Yeah. Just getting started.
So, Caroline, we always end our podcast with some rapid fire questions. So if you're ready.
Yep.
So, first one is when life gets overwhelming, what do you do to reset?
I don't know. I guess it depends on the day, but I feel like I'm very family oriented, so probably talk to my mom, my dad, or my parents or my brother.
Yeah. Where would you say is your quote unquote happy place?
Probably, I like the beach.
Any particular beach?
Ideally, like Hawaii. But,
That's nice. That's a good one.
but I mean, we have like just the eastern shore.
Yeah.
Or hiking. I like hiking a lot.
What advice would you have for someone right now going through what you went through 10 months ago?
Just that it takes time, and like to kind of, like we said earlier, like really reflect on the small victories rather than keeping your head just on the end goal.
Nowadays when you're running, would you say you're running from something or towards something?
Towards something.
And last one is, what is your life motto?
You only live once, and life is short. So
Love it.
do the things that'll make you happy.
Definitely a great motto and great
It's
advice.
Very cliche, but
But very important.
Yeah. Real quickly. Usually Rob ends it with the rapid. I just have one quick question. Are you going to keep the short hair or are you going to grow it out?
I'm gonna grow it out. I like it's fun phase. Like right now, it's like, I mean, it's back here in this, but if it's not in this, it's like I miss the long hair. It's like it's been fun to have it in different phases, but I'll grow it out.
Yeah.
My mom's growing out a bob too right now, so she has straight hair, so it's kind of growing out differently, but we're in it together.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at least I can say I remember I first met Caroline when she had short hair. Then, now I know what she looks like before for aneurysm. Yeah, I always like to know because I've always like, should I go back to long hair? But I guess majority of the people who I've grown really close to only know me with short hair, so they can't even imagine me with long hair. So I was just curious.
Yeah, that's like my mom, like she went through chemo when I was like a lot younger, and she just kept it short because she liked it short, and so she's had it short for like a while. Like I feel like since I was like really little, and I don't really like when she had a bob or like longer hair, I was like 2 or 3, so I don't really remember it. But now she's like growing it back out into a bob, and I'm like, oh, like this is, I don't know her with like long hair, I feel like. So, but she kept it short.
Yeah.
Well, Caroline, thank you so much for joining us. It's been great getting to know your story, and I'm sure a lot of our audience will take a lot of value from what you've shared with us. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. And we will see you in Philly. If not sooner, we'll see you in Philly. Yeah. Thanks, Caroline.
Super excited. Thank you.
We Run With You is a nonprofit with a mission to improve the lives of people suffering from brain injury and disease by funding research, raising awareness, and providing support for survivors and their families. Find out more at WeRunWithYou.org. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave a comment or review. Until next time, keep doing good.